Welcome to another episode of my Motortown playthrough. Today we are back for the second part of my coal delivery. And yeah, we are not exactly starting off where we left the last episode. It might look like it, but yeah, stuff happened in between. Basically, I did the entire trip already, and during the second part, the first time around, it didn't go well for my recording. After the first part, I took a break. I got a bit hungry, made myself something to eat, watched a bit of YouTube, and turned off the microphone. So, yeah. Re-recording this with another trip now because, well, noticed it too late. It happened before, it can happen again, but hopefully it won't. Can't guarantee. I think it will eventually. That's just what happens sometimes. I'm sorry, I wish I could have done the original recording and just given you that video. But yeah, here we are. Also, in the meantime, I tried retuning the entire thing because I thought I could make it a bit better and it got worse. That one time that I got up that hill before the iron mine, couldn't replicate it. Part of the reason might be because I put heavier rims on the trailer and on the dolly, but I'm not entirely sure. That's like 90 kilogram. So I don't know if that's gonna make the difference there, but yeah, I think a bit more retuning is in order after this, and I shouldn't have gone for the overtake because now I'm gonna have to push this guy aside in order to get back into my lane. I'm sorry. Stuff happens sometimes, yeah. Okay. Now that we are back on track, let's go down south. We are going to take the scenic route, so going around the long way there. So staying on the road instead of cutting right in front of the steel mill. But the good thing though, in between the first recording and this one, there has been another update, so the area actually looks a lot nicer now even than before. Or more like they push the niceness of the new area up a bit further north so that the empty part is not empty anymore. I mean, this one right now, it has nice terrain, but really no vegetation apart from the grass. So no trees, no large bushes and that kind of thing. And that's all going to come at some point, depending on what they have in mind for this one. But yeah, once we get out of this area, which is still pretty nice looking due to all the hills and everything. I mean, it's not boring by any means. Once we get out of this area, it's still gonna look nice because then the plains are going to be filled with trees and all that kind of stuff. And that wasn't there with the initial release. So yeah, still like a massive update only a day or two after the update itself came out. Betty is working really hard on this stuff and I don't think we can appreciate that enough. It's not even mentioned in the patch notes over time. But yeah, there's a lot happening and it's really nice to see, but hard to keep track of what's really happening because once again, you'll have to find it and you have to realize that something has changed because it's not going to be pointed out anywhere. Unless it's something as massive as redoing the entire concrete plant or adding an entirely new town to the map. Yeah, here we are. Oh god. I also recorded a few more episodes in between the last one and this one. In trying to get a better setup for the truck, I had to do quite a few attempts at the coal delivery in order to see if it would work out. and having to reload the entire thing all the time because, well, I needed to respawn it in order to get back to a tuning area, and from that point on coming back, loading up the truck again for the next attempt. I basically emptied out the coal mine after a while. So I'll have to see how I deal with that going on from this point. Also, I tried retuning the Dolly a bit. The suspension stiffness is now at maximum, so 500% of what it comes with by default. Jesus Christ, dude. And I also raised the suspension a little bit, so it doesn't bog down that much all the time. Looks a bit better now. I think I might have to reduce the stiffness again, because if you go into bumpy terrain, it really doesn't feel nice. It's really pulling on you because it doesn't want to adjust to the terrain. And I needed to be a bit more flexible in order to deal with the stuff better. So maybe if I get rid of the heavy rims and that kind of thing, soften the suspension, maybe then I can do some of the stuff again that I showed off in the last episode. I might also import my decals for the atlas from my other character. It's nothing special on there, but I have something that makes it look a bit nicer, and I would really like that on this one as well. I'm still trying to figure out how to deal with this entire thing. Having two characters and kind of being active on both. I wish there was an easier way to get parity between the two, because sometimes I'm really missing stuff on one character that I have on the other, and it goes both directions, which is even more frustrating sometimes. But it's okay. I mean, if I get much more money on the other one, I could actually get everything on there that I have on this one. I mean, now it's still gonna be a long time. Just looking at the amount of semis I have on the other ones, it's not a lot. So there are a few things on this character that the other one is definitely lacking. But yeah, maybe eventually switching over to only using one of the guys for everything here and having the other one specifically for testing might be an idea. But it might also make the testing worse, because yeah, if I completely neglect this guy and only use it for the updates, I might end up with stuff not working out because it's just not set up correctly on this one, so I don't know. And also I'm not able to copy the characters or something like that. I tried. Trust me, I tried. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see in the future what I make about this, but right now, yeah, there are some pain points with having multiple characters and actively playing on both. Also, one thing that I recently saw on the Trello, which I'm quite excited about, which might help at least in some regard. They are planning on adding vehicle folders. So this is a somewhat old suggestion which has been out there for a while, and it's about giving people options to have folders in their vehicle spawn menu. So if I have like 10 AI buses or something, I can just put them all in a folder in the bus category, and therefore, yeah, I won't have them all the time if I'm just looking for a bus to drive myself. So stuff like that can be really useful if you are having about 200 vehicles, which I'm getting pretty close to, I think. Although, to be honest, I made a suggestion to that end a while ago about having custom vehicle spawn categories. So the vehicle filter that should just get the option to rearrange the categories so that you can either get rid uh, of the cards or something like that, or move them to the back, or reassign the cards and the race car that we have right now all to track toys, so it's just one category instead of two. Things like that. And being able to maybe assign a new category as event cars, company trucks, that kind of thing. I still think I like my suggestion a bit more, which might be due to a bit of a personal bias. After all, it's my suggestion. But yeah, in the end, either one will definitely help improve the stuff, and maybe my one might be something that they could add later down the line. I think they would be harmonizing pretty well with each other. At least if done right. But yeah, looking forward to getting that one because it's just gonna make my life a bit easier. So I'm just gonna drive past the garage over here for repairs. Also, after my initial video on the update, I noticed that I left out a little detail which I didn't know about. Only the gas station and the regular tuning shop over here are open at 20% town bonus. The big one only opens up at 30%. I never noticed that during testing, and I don't think it even matters because I'm pretty sure that about every vehicle in this game can access the tuning point thingy at the regular thing here. You might not be able to spawn everything in over here. There might be something that doesn't fit, but I mean, I can just drive up here, select my truck, repair, and that's all good. I don't need to take care of the other shop in order to get that open. But yeah, I think overall it would still be a better idea to have some sort of resource that's assigned to all of these, and it could break down to something like repair points or just an inventory amount of money that you can spend at the stuff, and if it gets low, you will have to resupply them. Town bonus is nice and all, I like that it's in the game, but it feels a bit too unreliable to work with this. And also just a massive difference between doing this in single player versus multiplayer. I got a bus over here, town bonus is fixed in the area. Nothing's gonna... Jesus Christ, I should have put more attention into that. Nothing's gonna ever deplete the town bonus here with the bus being active, and therefore I don't really need to take care of it anymore. It's just one and done, and that's a bit boring. So yeah, anyways, we are back on track now. Getting over to the main road through Oldley and then onto the desert road. Should be alright from there. Unless I take another sharp turn and do something like what we did there at the crossroads. Gonna be a bit careful about it. But yeah, all that I need now is a full-size dump trailer. That one has a capacity of 10, the one that I'm driving right now has 17, so maybe 20, 25 kiloliters would be nice. That would definitely give me a good incentive to actually use the fuels of a storage facility outside of Guangjin where we started today. Because at that point, well, I would have so much more capacity using the large trailer, which obviously wouldn't be usable in Guangjin. So yeah, there would be an actual good reason to bring down all the coal to the storage and then load it over onto something larger. I mean, I could already do that with the current constellation by putting iron ore into it. That's also still a pretty good option. But yeah, for coal, I think something larger would be nice. But yeah, overall, I'm just happy about the dollies. I felt a bit lukewarm about them when they came out, but especially now that we can have one attached to the Atlas dump truck. This is one of those things that just needed to happen, especially with how coal hungry the steel mill is. Even if I already filled it up completely, so it doesn't really matter for me anymore. But yeah, all the new combinations, just being able to get a bit more stuff in total. I even bought myself another cooler container truck, which I used to own, and I remember getting rid of it because it felt like the most useless vehicle in the game, apart from things that you buy for fun to begin with. In terms of usable trucks, that always was pretty low on the list. And now with it being required for the only way to get 3 containers loaded at the same time, or one 20-foot and one 40-foot container, it's amazing. I still wish we got a container trailer for the Lobo, because um, that has a blueprint that was made at some point, so the measurements are all known, and yeah, it would be able to load 60 foot in containers in total. Depends on you how you want to slice and dice it. But yeah, it never got made, and for some reason that's where people draw the line. I think for the Lobo that would be a real upgrade having that as an option. Just gonna quickly refresh all the vehicles because they just keep annoying me otherwise. And yeah, right now I'm down to 8 out of 10 vehicles being used. I think in one of the future episodes they're actually gonna see me retire them. So yeah, in between the last and this one, as I mentioned, I recorded 2 others, and one of them included taking care of my AI company. I had some containers being transported back and forth, just with FL1s and the container trailer. So while that worked out pretty well, in the end, I don't think I need any more containers for now. And the stuff wasn't making any money anyways, it was actually losing me quite a bit over time. But yeah, right now I think things should be looking pretty nicely in terms of a company. I don't really optimize that to make the most amount of money. I don't really care too much about money right now. apart from knowing that some jobs are worth it. But yeah, in the end, getting a bit of money through that is also nice. But for me, still, the main part of the company is for utility. Although I like my bus part of the company to be set up really nicely. Making a bit of money, getting good town bonus and that kind of deal. I don't like how much the Dolly is hunting. That seems really risky and weird. Bit unstable. Although to be clear, it also has to do with keys. Oh god. It has to do with my steering inputs not being all that smooth. Like, I'm not going like full steering all the time. I'm trying to modulate it a little bit, but doing that for slight corrections, I also tend to just tap it a little bit, even if it's just like maybe halfway or something. So something like what I'm doing right now. And if I do that at higher speeds, it seems like the Dolly is really picking up on that stuff. So in short, that's not good. And I don't know if I can do anything about it. Okay, careful around here. After all, we learned that we can tip this whole thing over. Thankfully, the stuff stays in there. We must have mixed a bit of glue into the coal, so that it stays, yeah, in the open top container. I think part of the issue is also my timing with my steering. I know from handling cranes that there is a way to get the stuff to stop swinging around when it starts to do so, and there's also a way to make it worse. I don't know if I can explain that to you without any visual aid. But yeah, if I was to do the right steering input at the right time, then I should be able to calm down the trailer. But if I do it at the wrong time, it's just only gonna get worse. And I think with continuous tapping, I might just get the timing to a point where it, yeah, quickly gets worse. Oh god. Oh god. You know what's the fun thing about that? I felt like the trailer was tipping my truck. Like, really felt like the trailer was the one initiating the whole thing, and then it just flipped over my truck as well. Not entirely sure about that, but I don't know. Might need to analyze the footage, but some of the stuff I feel like it's more obvious when you're playing the whole thing instead of when you are watching it back. Also, I gotta say, after having done a few jobs with the dollies, I really wish they weren't all with rigid drawbars. If they were articulated, especially the two axle dollies, they would likely work out quite a bit better. but even the single axle dollies, depending on how heavy the load is, the ride height of the vehicle up front, their own ride height, even if you match it, it can be all at a slightly weird angle. This one isn't even all that bad. This is still alright. But here we go, we are slowly getting there. Oh god, not again. I might have to check the brakes. I think at least the brake on the trailer should be the strongest, then maybe the one on the dolly should be a slight bit weaker, and the weakest one should actually be on the truck itself. So when I brake, I want the trailer to kind of pull back the entire thing in order to keep it straight. Otherwise, if my truck is the one that brakes the most, then all the other stuff is gonna come in from behind and try to overtake it. And I don't really want that. Also, I really wish we got one of the short trailers, but as a tanker. I think that would really be nice for some of the Guangzhou stuff if it's still usable on the off-road sections. With me draining the coal mine, I was actually tempted to bring up some fuel up there. Didn't do that yet because, well, my options are either the Brutus tanker, Jemusi tanker, or the Atlas tanker, and I don't really want to use either of them. The Jemusi tanker might be alright, but I think both of mine that I have right now are set up as fuel stations. I think I have a Brutus tanker on this character, which I haven't ever done anything with, and I was meaning to copy over the setup that I have for it on my other character, because it's actually a pretty fun one. The rear gate on the Brutus, the hatch that covers up the whole fuel station mechanic, that opens up to the top. It just swings upwards, and on the other one I installed a light, and it looks so perfect at night. Basically like a little street lantern. So yeah, I want that on this character as well, and then maybe I'm gonna be using that for regular fuel, and one of the Jemusis for diesel, and the other one for actually transporting liquids. If you can believe that being a thing. I almost wish the Kira tanker got the refueling mechanic. Because if you are setting up some makeshift pit lane for a race, I think the Kira looks more the part for this than any of these off-road ready vehicles. But yeah, it's not really an option right now, so might be using the Brutus instead, even though it looks the most out of place. But at least it's a bit more modern than the Jemusis. So in a way, just for pure aesthetics, by the way, I don't really care about that stuff too much as far as their utility is concerned. But for looking the part, I think the Brutus being a bit more modern, I mean, much more modern, it has LED lights and all of that from what I've seen. I think that's a better fit for a racetrack. Wanna go high tech. Okay, and there we got the harbor. We still have to unload, so that's gonna be a bit of a problem, potentially. So, yeah, don't count, don't count the chickens before the eggs have hatched. And the hatching is still something that we need to do here. And since this is the second time I'm recording this, I also know how much money this is going to make. And yeah, despite being nerfed quite a bit, let me just say that the additional trailer and everything makes it worthwhile again. And yeah, the reason why it's nerfed is because after leaving Guangjin, after getting to the storage area where we started today, the old route required me to go all the way up north and then come back down. And going through Ara is definitely a bit more direct, which I think is also better overall. The old route was just stupidly ineffective. Okay, let's see how do we do this. I think if I go this way, yeah, I'm gonna have to keep in mind which way I need to steer now in order to control the dolly, because that's ultimately what's going to control the trailer. And this stuff is, let's just say, if you had problems maneuvering with a semi-trailer, this is worse. But this isn't even going all that bad. Might need to straighten it out again. And having to pull forward to straighten out the trailer and the dolly again, it's the worst feeling, because you're basically, every meter that you go backwards, you go closer to your destination. That's where you want to go. And pulling back forward feels like you're just undoing process or progress. Okay, that might be pretty good now. More forward. But yeah, with there being the trailer hitch and the fifth wheel, that makes 2 pivot points now. Between semi-truck and trailer, there's only 1 pivot point, so it's somewhat easy to imagine what it will do. I mean, in the end, that kind of means you have to reverse your thinking. If you do one thing, or if you go one direction with your truck, the trailer will do the opposite thing. This now should be a bit more straightforward, but it's also kind of going the wrong way in a sense. Or at least it's so indirect that it's hard to really tell exactly what's going to happen. Okay, we made it. We got at least the trailer on here. So let's raise the bet and get our money, which should be a really decent payout. Okay, 79k. Actually, the first time around it used to be a bit more. I don't know what changed in between. Maybe the stuff used to have a much higher demand bonus or something. First time around, I think I made 100k for this one, just roundabout, without town bonus. So this isn't going to be that much either, I guess. And yeah, I'm trying to pull this thing back, and ideally I want to get rid of the trailer before unloading. You know what, maybe I should do this the easy way and pull forward. So yeah, the trailer is gonna be in the way if I want to unload here, so maybe I should pull forward a bit further. So that I can actually get the atlas on there. So yeah, here we go. And dump it. Okay, so that's 134. With the 80 from before, that is 210. Last time around I think I made like 280 or something. So maybe it depends on how much you spread out your deliveries. Also, it would be kind of funny if it went right back into the silo over here. I mean, it's at 100 anyways. But yeah, we are done here. So I still kind of wish we could do the same delivery over here for iron ore. Just drop it off at the different harbors if we want to. For some reason that can ultimately only go to the steel mill right here. It's not too bad in the end. But yeah, made a good bit of money here. I think it's still worthwhile doing these jobs. I just don't know what the demand bonus depends on. Or what it's at right now. Maybe I should quickly check at the mine. Summon vehicle. And I love that they did this where it's now all deterministic. Which vehicle will be in which spot on the list if you have multiple ones and go to a parking lot. It just makes everything so much easier. So let me quickly check the demand bonus over here. And right now, yeah, it's 150% roundabout. So I guess that's where the price difference came in. Used to be a bit more the last time around, but that might have been one of my few ever desert deliveries since the steel mill was introduced. So there's a good reason to believe that it used to be at around 200% for that, which is the maximum. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the whole trip here. Again, I'm sorry that I kinda had to cheese the whole thing and that this part of the delivery isn't a straight up continuation from the last one, but yeah. When I messed up like that, there wasn't really much I could do. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, have a good one, and bye bye.